The stop that shouldn't have happened. It was a rainy Friday evening in Southside Chicago. Officer Brian McAllister was already frustrated. Late paperwork, a missed dinner with his family, and a boss breathing down his neck about being tougher in minority neighborhoods. When he saw a black woman in a bright yellow raincoat briskly walking down 79th Street, holding a large duffel bag, his instincts flared. Suspicion. Stereotypes. Prejudice. Without thinking, he flipped on his lights, screeched to the curb, and blocked her path. "Hey, stop right there," he barked, stepping out of the cruiser. The woman, Monica Reed, turned around calmly, holding her umbrella. "Can I help you, officer?" Brian didn't answer. Instead, he snatched the bag from her hand, dropping it to the wet sidewalk and yanking the zipper open. Inside were nothing but books, heavy law books soaked instantly by the rain. Brian sneered. "What are you doing around here with a bag like this?" Monica's eyes were steady. "Coming home from my evening class. I'm a professor at the University of Chicago." Brian hesitated. He hadn't expected that. But rather than apologize, he doubled down, accusing her of loitering, resisting, acting nervous. Monica silently pulled out her ID and faculty badge. Still, Brian slapped cuffs on her wrists. Rough. Unnecessary. Dehumanizing. Bystanders pulled out phones. Angry voices filled the rainy air. But Monica didn't shout. She didn't beg. She just watched, memorizing everything. Because she knew exactly what her next move would be. The turning point. Monica sat alone in a cold, gray holding cell, rainwater dripping from her soaked raincoat onto the concrete floor. Her wrists were raw from the tight cuffs. Her bag, her books, were ruined. But her spirit? Untouched. She had been here before, not physically but emotionally. She had grown up hearing stories from her father about being harassed by police for simply walking home after work. She had promised herself long ago, "If they ever come for me, they won't find fear. They'll find fire." When Officer McAllister finally sauntered down the hallway, clipboard in hand, Monica stood tall. "No charges," he muttered. "You're free to go. No apology. No explanation. No acknowledgement of the humiliation he had inflicted." Monica said nothing. She simply collected her things, damp books, ruined bag, shattered dignity, and walked out into the night. But as she crossed the precinct's threshold, she made herself another promise. "This ends here. Not just for me. For everyone who looks like me." By Monday morning, the first steps were already in motion. Monica wasn't just any university professor. She was Dr. Monica Reed, a civil rights historian specializing in systemic racism within law enforcement structures. And she had friends. Powerful friends. Her first call was to her university's legal department. Her second to a coalition of civil rights lawyers she had worked with on past police accountability projects. Within days, Monica filed a civil lawsuit, not just against Officer McAllister personally, but against the city for failure to train its officers properly. And that was only the beginning. She launched a press conference on the steps of the Chicago Civil Rights Center, flanked by professors, students, activists, and attorneys. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. Monica spoke clearly into the cluster of microphones. "Last Friday, I was arrested for the crime of carrying books in the rain. For existing while black. But I will not be another forgotten name lost in a dusty file. We will force the system to see us." Her story exploded across social media. #BooksNotBars trended nationally within hours. People posted pictures of themselves holding law books, textbooks, even novels, under the hashtag, a silent, massive protest against the criminalization of black existence. The fire they couldn't contain. The courtroom was packed. Not just with reporters and cameras, but with everyday citizens who had followed Monica's story like a lifeline. College students in hoodies. Grandmothers with church hats. Teachers, bus drivers, nurses, all packed into the wooden benches like it was Sunday service. At the center of it all stood Monica Reed. Unshaken. Unbowed. Across the aisle sat Officer Brian McAllister, fidgeting, pale, sweating through his uniform. The city attorneys had tried everything to dismiss her lawsuit. Technicalities, procedural tricks, even an offer of a private settlement. But Monica had refused. "I don't want a check. I want change." The trial laid bare the truth that many already knew. Testimonies from residents who described years of harassment in the South Side. Records showing McAllister had received multiple warnings for profiling but was never disciplined. Body cam footage showing his aggressive confrontation with Monica, grainy, rain-streaked, but undeniable. Monica's lawyers built a devastating case. And Monica herself, when called to the stand, was a force of nature. She recounted every detail with surgical precision, not just her own arrest but the history it was born from: decades of systemic abuse, ignored complaints, broken promises from officials. This wasn't just a mistake, she told the jury, voice unwavering. It was a pattern. A disease. Her closing words rang through the silent courtroom. We cannot heal what we refuse to see. We cannot fix what we will not admit is broken. When the jury returned, the verdict was swift and absolute. Officer McAllister was found liable for racial profiling and unlawful arrest. The city was ordered to pay $6 million in damages. McAllister was fired, his record permanently marked for misconduct. The city was forced to implement mandatory racial bias training for all officers, a first in Chicago history. But the real victory wasn't just inside the courtroom. It was outside. After the verdict, Monica stepped into a sea of cheering supporters. People waving signs that read, "Justice for Monica. Books are not a crime. We see you, we hear you." News anchors reported live as Monica spoke once again. Today is not about revenge. It's about recognition. Recognition that dignity cannot be arrested. That knowledge cannot be cuffed. That we, all of us, have the right to move freely in our own skin. She wasn't just speaking for herself anymore. She was speaking for every child stopped while walking home. Every grandmother pulled over on the way to church. Every brother, every sister, every stranger made to feel like a suspect simply for existing. Monica's movement, #BooksNotBars, grew beyond Chicago, sweeping into cities across the nation. Workshops were held. Policy changes were demanded. Communities that once felt helpless now felt unstoppable. All because one woman standing in the rain had refused to bow. All because they picked the wrong woman on the wrong day. And from that storm, a revolution was born. The end.